Good evening, and welcome to this week's edition of What's So Funny, a show where we talk about the funny with the people who make it happen. Well, our guest this week, oh man, he's a big deal. International headliner. You know him from NBC Comedy Central, Just for Laughs. We've got Jimmy Shubert. And of course, your host, Mr. Guy McPherson.
Thanks, Sam. What a way to start off 2020, right?
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Shubert in studio. They're always affable, easygoing Jimmy Shubert.
Oh, thanks for having me in, Guy. I appreciate it.
Yes, you were listening to yourself there. What was going through your head? You looked like you had a headache. You had your hand up.
No, I was just, that was taped in the summer of 2017 at the Just for Laughs Montreal Comedy Festival, and it's gotten a little smoother. I've kind of written it out, made it a little smoother, made adjustments to it. Like you're always, your stand-up act is like a living, breathing organism, is kind of evolving and changing. And I was just going, that's different now. That's a little different. I kind of switched that up. That's different. But at the same time, it's it just kind of was in its raw form. But that was that was the gala at the Montreal at the Saint Germain Theatre.
A couple of years ago, you've done well for yourself in Montreal, here in Canada.
Yes, I love coming up to Canada. Canada is so nice, and the thing I love about Canada is when you land at the airport, it's like, hey, here's a free luggage card. Hey, welcome to Canada. Because up here, you guys practice a socialist capitalism where you make money, but you still have somewhat of a soul. In America, they practice that capitalist capitalism where, these same luggage carts, $5 to go 30 feet. They'll show up and pry money out of a dead woman's hands and leave her 5 kids choking on exhaust fumes from her SUVs as they drive off to some other poor schmuck's house who got in the way of the capitalist shredding machine, So it's just nice. People, I've traveled all over the world, met Canadians all over the place, so they're very nice people.
I know you've traveled all over. You've been in Asia. Did you recently or last year go with Russell Peters to India?
Last year. I mean, it was a couple months ago. Yeah, I was in October. We went to India for like 6 shows, and then we went to Kuwait.
How was that?
It was absolutely amazing. It was awesome.
Because I know in Asia, a lot of times you're playing for expat audiences. Yeah. In India, there's a big English-speaking population.
Well, you speak about Canadians. Russell Peters, who is a Canadian, he's from Toronto. But the thing about Russell Peters is, aside from being a hilarious guy, he is one of the most generous, sweetest people you'll ever want to meet. But he's been cultivating these markets in like overseas, like Jakarta, and he's been going over there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And the fascinating thing about it is, while English isn't even their first language, it's their second language, and stand-up comedy, which is kind of a uniquely American art form. It's like jazz music was, in the way it's not, so it's not something they grew up with. But Russell's cultivated these markets, and it was fascinating to watch. I mean, they just love him. And he was gracious enough to ask me if I wanted to go, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to go. I've never been to India. I'd love to go check it out. And man, it was an awesome trip.
It's a different thing though when you're going with somebody of Russell's who has his following, right? And then they go, hey, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Shubert, and everyone's going, where's Russell? How do they treat you?
Well, they know Russell's coming out anyway. I'm just the opening act, and they give you and you just walk out. They were very gracious. It's funny. It's funny. In my travels in the world, I find people, and I've been to Israel, I've been to Singapore, Macau, Shanghai, Beijing, and I find that people genuinely appreciate the art form of stand-up comedy. It's something that's like new to them, and they appreciate that you made an effort to travel great distances to come and entertain them. Unlike, of course, North America, who go, you suck, get off stage. Like they have zero appreciation for it. Like I'm like Soggy the Dunk Tank Clown. You get a lot of people who can't handle the liquor, and they show up at a comedy club, and they just really want to ruin the show for everybody. That's what like hecklers. Right. They can't. It's not enough that you're going to interrupt the performance that everybody's having a good time, but you're also going to disrupt everybody's night out.
That's what I hate.
Yeah, I hate it because you're not.
I mean, sometimes a comic is great with a heckler, and it's sort of.
Yeah, regardless. I mean, I'm not even saying regardless. Like what you're doing is you're ruining the entire audience's night of entertainment. Maybe there's a couple who wasn't out in 2 years because they just had a baby and they finally had a babysitter they can trust, and they happen to be sitting at the table right next to you or right behind you, and you just have had too many drinks or whatever your general malfunction is, that you would go out in public and behave like that, and I mean, you wouldn't do it at the ballet. Nice, don't tap ass. You know what I mean? Like I don't get it.
I'd love to see that at the ballet, though.
Yeah, yes, I'm sure.
I might go to the ballet if they have that.
Yeah, people throwing tomatoes.
Well, we're too polite here in Vancouver to heckle like that, though, aren't we? Did you get any in your week here?
No.
You were here opening up the House of Comedy, brand new room. It was Laugh Lines here in New West.
Yeah, it was Laugh Lines, and it was just taken over by new management. Rick Bronson and Tammy Bronson that run Rick Bronson's House of Comedy. They have a club in Minneapolis in the States. They have one in Phoenix in the States. They also have one in Edmonton. They're getting ready to open one in Dallas. They just opened one in New West, which they took over for Laugh Lines. But it's in a beautiful, gorgeous theater that was established. I can remember the year, but it's just got a lot of soul cooties. It's one of these great old theaters. They're going to just turn it into a comedy club. And I hope it really works out because I haven't been to Vancouver in many years. I used to tour and open for the late Sam Kinison, and I think it was up here with him.
I saw Sam Kinison in Victoria. I don't know if you were opening for him then. I can't remember, but I remember there were picketers outside.
Yes, then that was it. I was there. I remember the picketers. Yeah. So, but that's the last time I was here. And Sam's been dead 27 years. This year will be 27 years.
Now, you tour all over the world. Why haven't you been up here in 27 years?
I'm just busy. I mean, like, it's like it's so funny. It's like to just, I get, I go where they pay me. If they, if they speak English, I work there, and if they pay me, I just. But I'm also busy. I do some acting and stuff, and it's just scheduling, really.
Yeah,
but
you do a lot of acting.
Yeah, and I just like schedule permitting. I mean, like I'm one guy. You can only go so, and I want to spend time with my family that lives on the East Coast in Philadelphia. Yeah, I just spent the holidays with them, and I enjoy that immensely. But it's just a lot of travel. I mean, I have all these people come up to me and go, I wanted to be a comedian. I go, yeah, I hope you like airports because it's a life of travel. If you get good enough, I'm not bitching because if you get good enough to be able to make a living doing it, which therein lies that's the rub. If you can make a living doing it, because there's a lot of people doing it for free. And of course, the art forms change, and it's weird. I've watched it change so much. Now it's all about social media. And how many followers do you have?
Yeah, we'll be done here around midnight, and then you got to take a cab to the airport 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, 4:30 in the morning. I got back to Los Angeles, but I'm actually looking forward to it. I get the next 3 weeks off. I've been busy, like you said, since the beginning of September, and just been traveling internationally and all over, really. And I'm just really looking forward to just kind of getting back to some other things. I'm working on a couple show ideas. I want to write those. I want to pitch those. I want to get back out there and doing other things. I mean, it's just there's so much to do besides just telling jokes and traveling around the world. There's some acting to get back to and some writing and stuff.
When you were opening for Sam Kinison here 27 years ago, how long had you been doing stand-up at that point?
Well, I just kind of started. I did it for a couple of years in Philadelphia. I started young. I was very fortunate that I knew what I wanted to do with my life when I was I think when I was 9. I started doing magic.
Yeah, I know.
When I was a kid, and I actually became quite proficient at it. I mean, my parents had this giant mirror in their bedroom, and I would stand in front of it for hours and practice magic. I had doves, and by the time I hit
you had real doves?
Yeah. And by the time I hit 13, 14, I'd become like a kind of accomplished professional magician. By the time I was 15, I was doing 6 gigs a month, and I couldn't even drive, so my dad had to drive me to these gigs in his beat-up pickup truck. And my father was a homicide detective, and I'm sitting there in this slightly oversized hand-me-down tuxedo with a shoebox with holes in it with my doves in it. And I would do shows at the children's hospitals around the Philadelphia area because you could do those shows for free, and you're good enough, and you build up your chops that way. And then a lot of these African American nurses would hire me, and I'd have to go into the areas in West Philadelphia, which was some really bad areas. So my dad would go down there. You know, my dad would drive me. He was a Philadelphia police detective, and he was no stage mom. Let's put it that way. You know, he's strapped with a 9mm. We'd go in the back door and get set up and do some shows, and then we could right back out. And back out of the neighborhood. But, you know, I've really kind of been entertaining people really most of my whole life. You know, it's kind of, I think back and it just kind of blows me away. But I've just been able to kind of eke out a living and be able to make a living doing this.
And that was a smooth transition to stand-up comedy?
Well, yeah. Well, what happened was I was always, even when I was doing magic, I had a joke file that goes way back because my grandma would send up the Reader's Digest, and they had, laughter in the United States and humor's the best medicine. I would circle these little jokes and post them on my joke board.
You had your own Uncle Milty's joke file.
Yeah, I really did, believe it or not. I mean, I did. So I had... The magic taught me stage presence. I had to let my natural writing ability catch up with that because I always had a lot of confidence on stage. I just had to let my writing ability catch up until I would allow myself to be who I authentically was. That's the thing about stand-up, because when you first start doing stand-up, it takes you about 4 years to get comfortable enough on stage to allow yourself to be who you authentically are. Yeah. And then it takes you another 3 years to 4 years to write an hour of material that suits that personality or suits that character that you're doing. And then it takes another probably, 4 or 5 years to build a network of people all over the country that will hire you and have you come in and do work. So it's really it takes a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're there now. So when you were starting in Philly, who was around at that point that we might know?
Well, Todd Glass.
Oh, yeah.
Todd. This guy named Legendary Wid, he's a prop comic out of Philly, but he's never really left. But
Legendary Wid,
the Legendary Wid, yeah, he was like a Carrot Top kind of comic.
Yeah,
he pulled jokes out of trunks, and
right.
And he was. I saw him. I remember seeing Jay Leno. When I was a kid, it was great. I mean, he was hilarious. I mean, Jay was the first guy I saw just go up and just talk to an audience and just have him cracking up for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then. Let's see.
Was Herrera around then? Dom Herrera?
No, Dom was around, but yeah, I was going up to New York. Dom was already in New York at this time, and I would see him up at when I was 18, I went to the Punchline Institute up in New York and learned how to do improv with a guy named Michael Golding. And Michael Golding ran the improv group at the comic strip, and I'd split a cab with him over to the comic strip, and I watched guys like Dom Herrera and stuff like that. So
you were learning improv. You just wanted to know everything about comedy.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was my thing. I've always kind of submerged myself in everything I do. You just kind of immerse yourself in it. And absorb.
Little OCD?
Little OCD. No, I would say little OCD, little ADHD, I got the whole alphabet going on, No, but I just, it was just... I wanted to, if I wanted to learn something, I've always been like that. Even when I was doing magic, I would always go to the library. I was checking out every book on magic and reading them. I can tell you right now, I still know the Dewey Decimal System for the marking of the 793.8, and that's the section you could find all the magic.
Where the magic is.
Yeah.
Is that true in all libraries around the world, the Dewey Decimal System? Will they all be in 793?
In the United States, they will be.
Well, we have the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah, it should be up here.
Yeah. Well,
I'm check.
Well, you can check. In fact, some people go, "How did you do that?" When you do magic, I write down 793.8. I go, "There you go." They go, "What's that?" I go, "That's a Dewey Decimal System for all the magic books are." And I go, "You can go find out and go read about it, and then you can come back to me."
And that's how you learned?
Yeah, that's how
magic from books.
From books.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people go on
because now everything's YouTube videos.
Well, YouTube, but the thing I like about books versus YouTube is that a magic book, when you read it, gets you involved in the process. Gets you involved because you have to read it a couple times to understand it, and then in your imagination takes over and you get involved. in the creative process where you watch YouTube, you just do what you see the guy doing, you know. But I've always, I'm a voracious reader. I read constantly, and I love a good book. I like the way a book feels in my hands. I mean, I'll read some stuff on the phone, but I prefer to have a book, and I can underline it, I can check it, I can go back and reference it.
Go back to it, yeah.
And go back to it. And so, that's just the way
We're old school.
We're old school,
we
man.
like the books.
You
like to read?
I do.
There you go. Read that.
This is...
Come on. Jimmy
Shubert, and you're listening to What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
He does like to read. He was telling us the truth. So you're here, as we said, performing all week at the House of Comedy in New West, and it's new to Vancouver. Not only that room, but a Sunday show. No, I mean, we have rooms around town, right, Sam, where stand-up comedy is on a Sunday, but the clubs usually are Thursday to Saturday.
I love a Sunday show. I call it new material Sunday. Like, I'll be working on stuff. Like, I like to go up and work. Like, Sunday, usually Thursdays and Sundays, I'll probably go up and I'll try some new stuff. You know, on the weekends, I obviously do my AE stuff, but on Sunday, you just kind of go up and goof off and kind of find some stuff, and there's some stuff you're working on, you know. I like to go up and mess around with it, you know. Yeah,
but they're paying the same amount, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the same amount, but it's just, well, you know, as a professional, you like to have a couple nights where you can go up and have a jazz set, as I like to call it, where you can riff and rumble and kind of go in and back and go back to the A stuff and kind of whirl it around. And
well, what you said off the top about listening to your set from 2017 that a lot of people don't realize is that somebody might go, well, he's doing the same bit, but yeah, there are tweaks in there that make it infinitely better.
Well, you know, it's economy of words. It's the shortest amount of words between laughs. And sometimes as a performer, you have to be able to fit a whole paragraph in one sentence. It's like, I used to go, I hate flying like Nigerians hate spam filters, you know, because you get all those emails from by Nigerian Prince who have made some, you know, it was just a joke. Like if you get a lot of, you know, and you try to create these visual images, these pictures with words. And so it's like, I will stay up all night trying to figure out the best way, the most prolific way to say a sentence, one sentence to go, that's it.
Packs a lot of information.
But it's also it's rhythm. It's like music. It has a rhythm to it. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing why when someone heckles a show, you're interrupting the rhythm of, you know, the way it's a rhythmic thing because you want to get the audience on a roll and that and once you get them going and you get them laughing, and next thing you know, and then people are watching other people laugh and they're laughing the way other people are laughing. It's a contagious thing. Yeah. And I'm going, why would you interrupt that? There's so much joy in this room right now. And I find people that interrupt usually are interrupting because sometimes they would love to be able to do what you could do, and they can't. They want to be part of the show, and so they have to yell something out. They go, they go, you're not really helping the situation.
And also sometimes people think, oh, I'm helping the show.
Yeah, well, you're not really. What do you think I do the other 363 nights a year you're not here? What do you think? You think I struggle because you're not in my audience?
You know, but so. you don't get it, Jimmy Shubert. Yet today you're supposed to have the most number of words possible before a laugh.
Well, that's not the way I grew up. That's not the way. Look, I grew up watching Sam Kinison and Andrew Dice Clay and George Carlin and Richard Pryor. And so to watch this politically correct cancel culture or whatever the fuck you want to call it, these people that ruin everything, they ruin fucking everything. They've ruined music. You're telling me there's a guy who's written a song that's amazing. It's a piece of, just a piece of art, and you could buy it for 99 cents on iTunes, which is the same amount of money you can buy the app that makes a fart noise. I mean, is that where we're at, artistically? It's like, they just ruin everything. These people fucking ruin everything? Can't you just let it go? Can't you let people enjoy it because you're so they can't control the way how they feel about something, so they want to limit your ability to address it or talk about it. And the fact that people are losing jobs because of tweets. It's a fucking tweet. I mean, we're even having this fucking conversations. I mean, what makes my head want to explode? I mean, if you're the biggest fucking problem in your life is a fucking chicken sandwich, you should fucking thank God. You know what I mean? That's your biggest problem is the fact that, it's chicken sandwich over there at Chick-fil-A, and there's just fucking eat the sandwich and shut the fuck up. I mean, I'm sorry, I make it crazy, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's
right.
I mean, this is your biggest, we live in a world where, we're human beings. First off, we're the product of 3.8 million years of evolutionary success. We walk upright, we have opposable thumbs, we come up with, we have imagination, and then this fucking cell phone device comes along, and now we're all working our way back down the evolutionary ladder. We're hunched over, and we're, and we're tweeting, and we're taking pictures of our food, and we're writing Yelp reviews. You got a fucking culinary degree? No, then shut the fuck up and eat it. And taking pictures of their food. I find it absolutely how arrogant fucking human beings are. The arrogance. I mean, on the way over, we're talking over here. We passed Tent City. I go, but people want to save the whales. Well, how about you go over to fucking Tent City and rescue a couple fellow human beings? How about you go feed a couple of fucking homeless people? Why don't you get out of your bubble and go fucking make a difference in the world? Oh my God, did you hashtag that? Holy shit, you're so brave. Did you hashtag it, Karen?
This is what What's So Funny is all about.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Well, no, but I mean,
it's true, man.
You're not a politically correct guy nor a comic. Have you run headfirst into any of this that has caused problems for you?
I've seen the writing on the wall, and what I did was, and I used to be much edgier, but I just kind of almost sidestepped, and I challenged myself to write stuff that wouldn't necessarily get people upset. I go, well, if you change the inflection, you change your word, you could just sidestep it and just wait for this whole fucking bullshit thing to pass. And then I would go back to writing jokes like the conjoinal twin bit, or some of these other edgier pieces of comedy when people came back to their senses, and which I think is starting to happen now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't go to a comedy club and if you're taking yourself too seriously, I mean, that's what it is. You're taking yourself too fucking seriously. A sense of humor is so important. Mm-hmm. It's a sign of intelligence.
But I like what you said. You took it as a challenge to yourself rather than butting heads up against it and maybe, losing your job over it, as you say. But it's like a writing challenge, and you're just as funny that way.
Yeah, well, I just wasn't going to get all caught up in it. I mean, I want to make a living doing it. I mean, you look at a guy like Kevin Hart, who made some, like 10 years ago, he made some jokes about his son being gay. He apologized for those references. And then 10 years later, he got a job hosting the Oscars, and they brought all this shit up and I'm going, and he just said, it's not even worth it. Fine, I'm bowing out. Mm-hmm. I mean, people look at even Eddie Murphy. He's like, some of the stuff was a different time period.
It was. Sarah Silverman lost a job in a movie, I think, because of something from her show 10 years ago where she was in blackface or something.
Well, she was.
I forget what it was, but
she was doing her impression of Justin Trudeau, I think.
Hey, easy now. Come on.
I think it's so funny.
He's our leader.
No, I know he's your leader. Take us to your leader. I actually had a charcoal mask on, and it was a charcoal mask, but it looks like, it could be mistaken for. I said, this is not blackface, but it is part of Justin Trudeau's skin care regime. I just posted it up on one of my Instagram stories.
It's interesting. I think you're totally right. That kind of the anti-backlash, it's coming back to a bit more reasonable, and the cool-headedness is starting to creep up again.
Well, having a great sense of humor is a sign of intelligence. Yeah. And I always think, people who get outraged, it seems to be this strategy for equipping a moron with some self-dignity. It's like, I am outraged. You're a fucking idiot is what you are. It's just, like I said, they can't control how they feel about it, so they want to limit your ability to talk about it or say anything about it. And it's really quite fucking. It's just arrogant. It's you shouldn't come to a comedy club.
Yeah, I think we've all heard comics, especially 30 years ago. Maybe not you, Sam. You were 2 at the time.
Well, thank you.
Who maybe said things that. I mean, I don't get offended. You probably don't get offended, but we don't like it.
Oh, I can think of one of George Carlin's jokes that it just makes me fucking laugh hysterically.
Yeah, but laughing. But I'm talking about the negative, just for a moment, where we see somebody and go, I don't like where that's coming from. And so my reaction to it is, I don't like that guy. That guy's not good, so I won't listen to him. Not, he shouldn't be speaking.
He should be speaking, and he should never work again. Like, that's it. Like,
Yeah, I just go, I don't like him.
And that's fine. You're certainly able to have your opinion about things. And I'm just saying, but to make sure a guy never works again because he jerked off in front of a couple people. Certainly, you're going to put him in the same category as Bill Cosby and Harvey Weinstein, who are fucking, there were horrible fucking people who drugged and Cosby did, and Harvey Weinstein, to put Louis C.K. in that category, I'm sorry, I don't look. The guy was, I think the guy had a fucking problem. He was a chronic masturbator. But to make sure he never is able to make a living or feed his family again, I think that's a little extreme. Maybe he should go get some help because I think he's a jerk off.
Literally,
and that's what
he's working again now.
I know he's working again, but he can't advertise it. He can't get on social media because all the trolls will come out there and they'll protest his shows, and that's part of the deal. You can't post it on social media. If you do, I won't show up. And so you just put it on your website, and people come out and see the show because it's gotten ridiculous. I mean, Roseanne Barr lost a job for a tweet, and I know Roseanne. She's not a racist. She's an African American grandbaby. I mean, she was trying to make a stupid joke, and it's just like so and so and so and so had a baby. Now she didn't use great references, and maybe she didn't know the woman's nationality, but she's certainly not a racist. But they fired her from her job. And here's how dumb this is, because it's ABC. Now, if I was in charge of that company, I said, well, I'd call her into my office. I said, what you're going to do, Roseanne, you're going to get your checkbook out. You're going to write a couple checks. You're going to apologize to everybody. And then you come back here and we're going to do season 2 and we're going to make a lot of money. Because here's what happened. They had $80 million sold in revenue for the reruns of Roseanne. They had $20 million in revenue sold for season 2 of Roseanne. And then they fucking fired her. It cost the company $100 million fucking dollars. That's just not good business. Yeah. That's stupidity. That's stupidity because you let your emotions get involved in something. Look, people make mistakes. People are human beings. People say the wrong things all the time. Do you fucking hate them for the rest of your life? I mean, what kind
people
of
we know and love. Yeah, like in our daily lives.
No, absolutely. Do you? I mean, in the culture in the United States, I mean, it's gotten so ridiculous. I've never seen anything so ridiculous. I don't even talk about politics anymore. I just don't do it in my act. And in fact, I don't even care what you think about politics. I don't want to know. I remember when I was a little kid, I asked my grandparents, it was on the way out, I said, who are you voting for? And they said, none of your business. Yeah. That's what my grandparents said to me. And I was like, wow, that's what I never always stuck with me. It's just none of your business. I don't care who you're voting for. It's none of my business.
Right.
I don't care who you sleep with. It's none of my business. It doesn't, you know what I mean? I'm not, but I mean, man, but there's just this outrage culture and this cancel culture now and I think people are sick of it. People are sick and tired of it now, so I think it may be time to make a move. And I'm actually, my New Year's resolution was to write a little edgier stuff and get back to the original stuff that I did, like on my Comedy Central special. I thought was like, just to challenge the culture a little more,
The Comedy Central special called Zero Tolerance.
No, that's my latest special, which is available on my website at jimmyshubert.com. You can rent it. Yeah, Zero Tolerance. And Zero Tolerance was really for idiots. I have zero tolerance, although it probably people go, oh my God, it's racist. Yeah, zero tolerance for what? I was just talking about people bringing therapy animals on the airplane. It just got ridiculous.
It's a great bit.
It's like a fucking petting zoo on the fucking plane. It's like, and just how dumb we've become. How dumb we've allowed ourselves. I mean, we've really gotten dumber as a species. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it really is. I mean, things have gotten so much. We literally don't. I mean, could you imagine? That wasn't that long ago. Like, people were like, you had to bash your food with a rock and kill it and then cook it over an open flyer. And now we're in, we're in Bed Bath & Beyond buying the hamburger press. It makes the perfect hamburger pan every time. And it's like, does a hamburger have to be perfect? It doesn't. It does, but I mean, it's just the silliness. I mean, it's just we're supposed to be coming closer together as a species. I just think that all this social media and I think we're getting us apart. And I think maybe that's part of the ultimate plan. When I say the ultimate plan, the ubiquitous them trying to divide everybody with all these distractions.
Who's that? The Russian trolls?
No, not the Russian trolls, but it's like television. I told you in a way where I got rid of my cable box. I don't watch TV anymore.
Yeah.
Because why do you think they call it programming? I mean, in America especially, I find, the big news agency is probably owned by 8 corporations. I mean, they're all saying the same thing. They're manipulating people's emotions and feelings, and they actually should be charged with malfeasance because a lot of the shit and misinformation that they provide, I mean, they're culpable in all of it, and starting wars, and they go right along with it. They rush to to tell you this side of the story. They go, no, that's not what fucking happened. And then you find out the story like 2 weeks later. This is what happened. And you go, you lied to me for like 2 weeks.
And there's no correction that you can actually hear.
Well, there's no correction. There's no apology. There's no nothing. It's like the news media is like these 3-year-olds playing T-ball, and the one hit kid is the T-ball, and the whole team chases out into the outfield. There's no one to make the relay play to or tag anybody at home. And they just chase a little ball around like a bunch of 6-year-olds playing T-ball, and they don't care anymore. They don't care who they hurt. I mean, obviously that Richard Jewell movie with Clint Eastwood. I mean, they destroyed this guy's life. They were certainly willing to destroy. And I don't know, but from the outside, and I'm what you would call like a real independent. I think of Republicans and Democrats in my country are all full of shit. But when you watch it from the outside, and you don't have a dog in the fight, and you watch what they do to guys like Judge Kavanaugh, you go, well, did he really do this, or are you just saying? Are you willing to destroy a guy's life who's dedicated his life to being a judge and fighting law and order, and you're going to just destroy his life for some political ideology? You're a fucking monster.
Well, that wasn't political ideology. That was sexual harassment.
Well, first off, he was in high school when it fucking happened. The guy's like 55 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ. You go back to my high school.
Let's not do that.
No, but exactly. You'd a couple socks, couple crunchy socks to be able to understand. He abused me. He fired his flesh musket off into my...
Forensic
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, okay, and then what I'm saying is you can't corroborate the story. There was it was her idea. And I'm not saying, but there was no witnesses. The witnesses that were there didn't have. I'm just saying we should be able to, like, if you're accusing somebody, we should have a little bit of proof. He said, she said, you're willing to destroy a guy's career and life over this. He has, you know what I mean? I just found it to be a little much. If there's proof, then yes, absolutely. But I mean, it was he said, she said, and the people that were there said it never happened, and we weren't there. I mean, it was just wishy-washy, you know what I mean? And you've never heard from her since. She got they got a GoFundMe page, and she disappeared. And I go, well, that was it. I mean, it's just you.
So where do you get news? Just from the word on the street, or? Well,
I like the BBC Americas is what I like to read my news. I like to be able to form my own opinions about stuff because I really think that there was a video out there not too long ago where they had all these different news stations literally repeating the same story verbatim, like it was like handed down, and it was like by the time you get done, it was like probably like 60 stations, and they were all saying the same thing. It was, first off, they write the news story at a 4th grade level, so everybody can wrap their mind around it. All right, and then you got these people that are wearing makeup and hairspray and telling us about the news. I go, I wouldn't have a beer with you You fucking jit bubble. You're going to tell me how I should think and feel? That's what people look. They sit in front of your TV, and your TV's going to tell you how to think and feel.
It's just mindless.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's mindless. I think people need to get hungrier for information. We live in an information age, so you can find out anything you want to. You just Google it and do a little research. I think people don't want to do that anymore. I think it's important that you do that, because I don't think we're, where's the real journalists, like, Walter Cronkite's and
Edward R. Murrow.
Yeah, Edward R. Murrow and Woodward and Bernstein and these guys.
Well, they're still around.
Yeah, but I mean But I'm talking about the quality of reporting would be great, that they set a precedent, and it's just, everything's opinion-based now. I don't give a fuck what your opinion is.
I don't like the opinion.
No.
I don't care what your opinion is. Tell me the facts. I can make up my own mind. But apparently I'm too stupid to make up my own mind. So please, tell me how to think and feel, TV.
I just find it interesting, like, not that long ago, people got their news the next day or the next couple days, right?
You had to
so
wait.
The people who got the facts could process the facts and make sure they're right and present information that is right as possible at the time, and not just, it's coming in right now, there's X, Y, what's going on, here's what I think about it. Ended up being wrong, but who cares at that point, right? People waited to get the news. It was less bullshit.
Yeah, now we live in this 24-hour day news cycle.
You got to fill it up.
And you don't want to get on the wrong side of that.
Oh, God, no.
They'll chew you up and spit you out and fucking move on to the other poor schmuck's house who got away to capitalist shredder. They just chew you up. And look what they did to this guy, Richard Jewell, that movie that Clint Eastwood directed. I mean, that's a real story. They ruined this guy's fucking life, and they never went back to fix it or apologize or do anything.
That's the 90s. That's the Atlanta bombing.
Yeah, the Atlanta bombing story. And it's like...
So then why did he set the bombs?
He didn't set the bombs.
I know.
He discovered. I know. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just. I mean, you believe half of what you see and none of what you read or hear. I mean, it's all. Everything on Facebook, I find it to be bullshit. There's no factual matter. I mean, even the fact checking websites are full of shit. People are going in and editing Wikipedia pages and filling it with fucking horse shit. I'm going, is anything real? Do we all take a blue pill and get lost in the fucking matrix? Do we make eye contact? Do we have conversations anymore? Do we just all look at our phones and communicate with text messages, emojis? It's fucking retarded. I'm sorry, mentally encumbered. It's mentally encumbered the way people respond. It's just like we really are getting. I mean, you got the greatest computer between your ears, and people just get on their phone,
scroll.
I know. It's and so I mean, I would literally, when I come down here from New West, I was on the phone. I was just looking at all the people. Everybody's on their phone.
Oh, man.
I go, you could literally walk in here and do anything and no one would see you do it because no one's paying attention.
Yeah.
No one is observing and no one's paying attention. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, that's like, I'm always observing. I'm always looking. I'm not on my phone.
You're a comic.
Well, my phone is for me to keep in touch with the world. It's not for the world to keep in touch with me. And I'll get to the story, and if it's big enough, I'll find out about it. I'll read about it. But, by the time, like, everybody just has this knee-jerk reaction to everything. And I go, you don't even know the fucking facts. And then you go on Facebook, and everybody's a foreign policy expert. Everybody's a financial wizard, and this is what we should do. I go, yeah. I mean, it's just weird. We've gotten in strange times. I think at some point, the next big revolution that will go down will be a spiritual revolution. I think people will put down and walk away from the technology.
Yeah, I think that's coming.
I think it's coming. I think people go, you know what? This is bullshit. I don't give a fuck how many followers I have. I don't care.
They'll only listen to radio and podcasts. That's it. Can you read again?
Oh, yes. I can read again. What is it?
Unless you've memorized it.
Hi, this is Jimmy Shubert, and you're listening to What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio.
Hey, very well done. Last night, I don't see it now, but last night you were on stage. I said to Sam, he has some mannerisms and a look kind of like somebody. That's it, Brian Regan. And then I think, well, he has a big family. You have 5 brothers.
Yeah.
He lived in was from Florida. You lived many years in Florida.
Yeah, Brian.
But I mean, your styles are completely different. But just your look and
well, people say, I've gotten a lot. Like people always make the comparison. Like people go, "You sound like Colin Quinn."
Oh, yeah, there
Colin
you go.
Quinn. Or people go, "You remind me of Rodney Dangerfield." I go, that I don't get, but then just because there's so many jokes,
Yeah.
right. So it's that older style of comedy. So yeah, I mean, I love Brian.
Yeah, he's great.
Brian's a buddy of mine. I'm friends with his brother Dennis, who's also a great comedian.
Yeah.
I mean, so and when you hang out with these guys, I mean, these guys are, you grow up hanging out with these guys, and when you hang out with comedians all the time, you're influenced by them. I mean, hopefully I found my own style. Hopefully I don't.
Absolutely. So. It's the blonde hair and it's
we look a lot alike.
Yeah.
And Brian's is a super nice guy. I mean, last I was in Vegas, he took me and a buddy of mine, Jackie Flynn, who he's on the show Loudermilk. With Brian.
They were up here a few months ago shooting.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And he took me to a Knights playoff game. He has a box down there, and so it was great. It was great. We're at this box, and then there's some family members show up, a couple nieces and stuff, and he goes, "You know why I got this box?" I go, "No, why?" He goes, "Because the bathroom was right there." Right? He goes, "I got to pee every 15 minutes at my age because I got it because the bathroom was right there." But I love Brian. I love his brother Dennis too. The good.
Yeah, and so he has a big family, right? A lot of kids.
Yeah.
As you do, big Catholic family.
Yeah, I got 6 male children.
Yeah, and so one of his brothers is a comic. What do your brothers do?
Well, my brother Bobby runs a water restoration company, and he's with my brother Joey's a public insurance adjuster, and they're both kind of blue collar, white collar guys.
Yeah.
My brother Johnny was a contractor, but now he's working. He got a contract job at the hospital, so now he just kind of works around and fixes stuff at the hospital, and he's in the union and stuff, and. My brother Chris works for Home Depot. My brother Tom's a school teacher with 3 kids. So.
Awesome. North Philly's finest?
Northeast Philly.
Northeast Philly, because North Philly's finest is Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, my dad was a homicide detective, worked for the city of Philadelphia. My mom was a school teacher, and so grew up in a little kind of middle class neighborhood out there.
Yeah, it's funny though. Out of that family, you were drawn to showbiz.
Yeah,
and the only one at the time. Were they making fun of you? Look at that magic boy.
No, all my brothers were really supportive. All my brothers loved the fact that I was doing it.
Yeah, where are you in the 6?
I am number 3.
Okay, right.
I have 3 younger brothers, but they were all very supportive. They still are to this day.
Big fans.
Come out to the show, but all my brothers are hilarious. They're all really funny guys. I mean, they call me all the time and go, "I was thinking about this the other day. I thought you might think it was funny." And sometimes they hit it right on the head. I go, "Oh, that's awesome. Thank you." I mean, it's like having 5 writers, because they're all funny. They all think they're funny. And my brother, gave me a tagline about, that's why men buy table runners. So he goes, "Oh, that's great." So yeah, they help out a little bit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I know. I've heard Mike Myers say that he was the least funny person in his family.
You know what's funny? You could say that because my brother John. Everybody goes, my brother Johnny, my younger brother, right under me. They go, "He's the funniest Shubert." I go, "Yeah, he's the funniest Shubert." And then they said the youngest is the funniest in big families. And so my brother Tom goes, "Yeah, that article said I was the funniest." I go, "Yeah, you guys are really funny. Now go try to do some stand up."
Do you do a big homecoming show? You once a year, go to Philly, pack?
Yeah, I was just back there. There's a Parks Casino by my house, and so it's right in the neighborhood. It's literally 7 minutes from my parents' house, and I drove my mom and dad up to see the show and stuff. And then there's a buddy of mine named Big Daddy Graham, who was 60, a really beloved personality in the Philadelphia area. He worked on a radio station called WIP, and he went in for a back surgery. And, they put you on blood thinners after surgery so you don't get blood clots. And I guess he had a spinal bleed. And his back was coming laid down, and now he's paralyzed. And so they did a big benefit for him on December 27th. And I was back there. I did New Year's Eve at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick. And so I did that, and I got to spend some time. I was back there for mostly the whole month. Got to spend some time with my mom and dad. They're getting older, so I want to spend as much time with them as I can. Don't take any of that for granted.
Right. Yeah. Retired from the force.
Retired from the force. Yeah, he's still an old gumshoe, though. It's like living it's like living with Lieutenant Columbo.
One more thing.
Let me ask you a question. He just keeps asking you questions, and then it's like it must be an interrogation technique. Because he'll ask you these questions, and then he'll stop. And then he walks you back through the questions, what you said. So it's just something that. And my dad's 85, he's sharp as a tack. I mean, my dad he just remembers everything. And it's like, and they're like, And he's like these homicide cops. They don't let it go. They're like pit bulls. If they haven't solved the crime, it still haunts them. You know, but he's a fascinating character. You know.
Yeah. So your family can't always see you on the stand-up stages around the world, around the States, but you were on King of Queens for 5 seasons. You've done Entourage. You were on Last Comic Standing. That was the year, by the way, our old friend from Vancouver, Lachlan Patterson, came in top 3, I think.
Love Lachlan. Yeah.
Lachlan's great. He's been here.
Lachlan should have won that show.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I was at the table. Lachlan is a great writer of jokes. He's really I don't know what he's going through now because he was a good-looking guy. Now he's got a head.
He looks like Jesus.
Now he looks like Jesus, but I love Lachlan Patterson. He's a really
great,
really great. He's a real.
I used to play basketball with him.
Yeah, he's a real stand-up comic, man. He writes great jokes, and women seem to like him. He has a pet rabbit.
They do.
No, I do. I got a lot of affection for him.
Rodman won that. Rodman
won it that year.
And I haven't heard from him since. I mean, obviously he must still be working.
Well, yeah. I mean, I
he was really unusual. I liked his whole
he was on
presence.
He was on the show with me that the summer of he was on that gala that we did.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Rodman's been doing comedy as long as anybody else. So I haven't heard much from him either. I mean, they're supposed to see that. I don't think they were really looking for the funniest comic. I think they were looking for because I thought Lachlan. I was at the final show and I went, well, Lachlan had 2 amazing sets. I go, Lachlan should win this.
Yeah.
And then they had to shoot alternate endings because they didn't want people to know who actually won it. But that year DC Benny was on there out of New York, and DC's gone, and he's got a great career now. And Rocky Laporte.
Rocky's great.
I love Rocky.
He's Philly too, isn't he?
No, he's Chicago, South Side Chicago.
Is he?
Yeah, but he's one of those guys.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I mean, when you
he's so fun.
When you get to do this, you get to meet these guys and you establish these lifelong friendships with them. And it's because you know how tough it is to do this, and the fact all in a trench together, just kind of. Fighting a good fight. It's just, it's a tough way to make a living, not really for everybody.
So that was the year that Roseanne was one of the judges.
Yes.
Was that Russell Peters too?
Yes, Russell
and,
Peters. And Russell was asking me, he goes, when we're working together, Shubert. He kept asking me, when we're working together, Shubert. And I was just after that show, I was busy for 9 months. It was I was flying back Monday, doing a little wash, flipping a suitcase, and back out on Wednesday. It was for 9 months straight. It was crazy. And so, and then finally, we kind of goes, let's work together. And he had me open for him in Vegas, and then he brought me over to India, which was really the trip of a lifetime. I mean, he's first class all the way. What a mensch of a human being.
So how do you do it when you've got 9 months of road work, and then you got an audition, and then you've got a TV show or movie role, then you have to cancel the road gigs?
Yeah, you would cancel the road gig, and everybody knows that. I mean, I'd rather go do a movie than, I can always reschedule a road date. I'd rather, I think the thing is, you have to get those national TV credits that allow you to be able to then become a draw and then to be able to make top dollar. So you need those credits.
Right.
People are trying to do that with podcasts now, which is cool. Social media is really kind of giving you a direct line to a fan base that if they're listening to you, and guys are selling out, theaters based off of podcasts.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Some guys are with
Sam, your time is coming.
Well, without movie or TV roles, that's the new thing. I mean, that's one of the most significant things I've noticed with a change, where you would have to get cast on movies and TV shows, and people are going, well, he's a big YouTube star. I go, yeah, anybody could be a big YouTube star. You just set up your camera and tape it.
Upload.
I tell my agent, I was in movies and television. Does that mean anything? Am I going to become a big YouTube star? I mean, it's you watch these YouTube videos, and there's a girl in her bedroom, and she's putting on makeup. And then there's a million other little girls around the country in their bedrooms watching her put on makeup, putting on makeup. Yeah. And they go do these makeup symposiums, and these girls show up and they make $1 million, teaching people how to put on makeup. It's really... I think YouTube is like the new television. Really, that's like one of the significant things. It's really.
Well, you can watch them on your TV screen now too. So.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Those are some of the more significant things I've seen change. Like before, you had to get cast in something, you had to you had to be good at acting, and then you had to be good at auditioning. And
talented?
Yeah,
you had to be talented.
Yeah, you had to be talented, and now you just see people have studios in their houses, and they just set up the cameras, and they don't need anybody. There's no middleman anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I went and shot my own special. That's available on jimmyshubert.com. You go rent it or buy it, and shot it, did all the post on it, edited it, and then I would take it out to try to sell it, and they go, "We love it." I go, "What's your offer?" They go, "Well, they want you to pay the $3,000 errors and omissions insurance, which is insurance in case you offend anybody and they sue the company." I go, "But you're already a company. You already have errors and omissions insurance. So what's the $3,000 for?" He goes, "Well, that's you got to pay it." I go, "Oh, do I?"
You just got to pay.
And I go, and then what's the deal? He goes, "Well, we'll put it on our Roku channel and we'll take 50% of it." I go, "Oh, will you? Oh, will you? Okay." I mean, what do you think? I'm a moron? I mean, but you don't need these people anymore. That's the thing that scares the hell out of these people. You really have direct access to a fan base. If people like what you do, they'll buy your stuff. They'll come and get it, and then eventually you can put it on iTunes and all these other things, So.
Your old roommate Mark Maron has basically done that. I mean, I was a fan of his before his podcast, but then
I've been a fan of his since the beginning. I've always loved Mark. I mean, we go back.
So when were you roommates? You were roommates?
Yeah, we were. The Crest Hill house. The house
you were out there?
Yeah, I stayed
man.
there. Me and him stayed there.
Wow.
Oh, I got some great stories, bro. I mean, Mark Maron was like, he was, it was. I don't want to talk out of school, but I'm sure if people listen to the WTF podcast,
know about that.
They'll know because Mark always he's been no wallflower about it, but Mark is. I love him. I'm happy for his success.
Yeah.
When he did the inaugural address at the Montreal Comedy Festival, it was probably about 7 years ago, 8 years ago. He talked about getting into show business. He goes, it wasn't your show business, it was my show business. He goes, I went out to my garage and thought about killing myself because nobody wanted to be involved with a 46-year-old comedian. And I started talking to my friends, and I thought my friends were, they didn't realize it at the time, but they were keeping me from killing myself. But then that turned into what the WTF podcast. And now I just saw him the other day post something on Instagram, and he going, okay, so this is happening. And he turns the camera to the right, and it's Brad Pitt, and he turns it to the left, and it's Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, he had Barack Obama on his podcast. I mean, so Mark Maron, God bless him. I think, I'm a fan. I just, and there's a lot of guys like Joey Coco Diaz.
Oh, yeah.
On the Church of What's Happening Now. I mean, these guys have, kind of get the hang of it. I'm actually thinking about getting back and firing up my old podcast.
Yeah, you had a podcast, the Jimmy Shubert Show.
Yeah, I did, but it's just I just got so busy. Like I told you, that 9 months. I mean, I something had to give, or I was going to lose my mind. I couldn't maintain. You're traveling and trying to make a living, and just you go, is the juice worth the squeeze? And at that time, I didn't have the fortitude to see it. And I just didn't. Our numbers weren't that great. We were getting like $2,500 to $5,000, which is not enough. You need like 20,000 at least just to break even on a podcast. And so it was like I just thought I'd go with what was working.
You mentioned Maron with Brad Pitt, but you worked with Brad Pitt and Angelina. Brangelina, you worked with Brangelina.
Yeah, on. Not
Mr. and Mrs.
Smith. Yeah.
Smith.
I was lucky. The guy Doug Liman, who directed Go, another movie I did with Doug Liman, had me come in for a couple days and work with them. And it was just the only reason I took it because he goes, "Well, it's a scene with Brad and Angela." I go, "Okay, fine." I mean, I
take that.
I'll take it. It was a smaller part, but I don't care. I mean, worked on it for a couple days.
Were you allowed to look them in the eye?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
But the thing is, people don't realize you get these small roles in these movies back in the golden age of SAG, and by the time you don't get residuals, it turns out to be about $20,000. And you go, why would I not do that? Plus my insurance and everything else. It's crazy.
So you and Maron were both doormen at the Comedy Store,
the world famous Comedy Store.
Yeah. So why? Were you trying to do comedy at the same time, or was that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And we were
because these days nobody is a doorman / comic.
Well, yeah, there are. If you go to the
okay.
comedy, that's the system. There's guys out there working the door now. They get to make the living work at the door, and then they go do spots up in the belly room and stuff. But now the Comedy Store, I mean, it's a who's who of comedy. It's like really, they got 3 rooms out there. They're all sold out all the time.
Yeah.
And you got Bill Burr running for the main room to the original room to the belly room, doing 3 spots a night, and Joe Rogan and Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura and Eliza Schlesinger, and it's a who's who. I mean, it's really great. I mean, because I was there in the 90s when that club was not doing so well, and I thought it may close or they may sell it and build a big hotel chain there, but it actually it panned out, and I'm glad it did. I was glad because they're making money now. They're doing really well.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's one of the most important comedy clubs in the country, as well as the Comedy Cellar in New York. I think they're just these.
And different styles of comedy.
Yeah, well, that should be encouraged, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's important. I mean, it's like we were talking about the Magic Castle. Like, you go to Magic Castle, which is a comedy club, which is a magic club in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's a private, exclusive club, and you can go there, and they're the best magicians in the world.
Insane.
You know, they also, even those clubs are starting to pop up. Like, there's one in Chicago. It's called the Chicago Magic Lounge, which is a really, really beautiful comedy. You walk in, it looks like an old shitty laundromat. And then you ring the bell, and one of the dryers pops open, and you walk into this gorgeous club, and there's a gorgeous bar, and then they hit a nut button, and the fireplace slides over, and you walk in this great showroom. It's like, it's all that stuff's catching on now. It's cool.
It's like a scene from Get Smart.
Yeah, it's like exactly Get Smart.
You know, we used to do a segment on this show. We stopped doing it because a lot of the guests didn't have jokes. But it was called New Joke, Old Joke, named by Mike Kaplan, who loves old street jokes. And I would ask a guest to either give me a joke that they love from a fellow performer or a street joke. And the reason I thought bringing it back just for tonight is because in your act last night, you said 3 great street jokes. I don't know if you want to use one of them or another one. Do you have a street joke you can give us?
I do have a street joke. And this joke is the joke I always use when there's a joke-telling contest or somebody's celebrity golf outings.
Yeah, okay.
There's all comedians.
Excellent.
And so I've won a couple joke-telling contests with this one. So it's all
perfect.
street joke. And the guy goes to the doctor, and he's got a big gash in his upper thigh. He's going in, the doctor has him come in, and he goes, I cut my leg. He goes, all right, drop your trousers and let me have a look. And so the guy drops his trousers. The doctor starts to clean up his wounds. He goes, looks like you're going to need stitches. And the doctor starts to stitch up the guy's wound. He goes, I just want to let you know you have brown balls. He goes, doc, just stitch up my wound and let me get the hell out of here. He goes, all right, I'm telling you. I'll stitch up the wound, but I just want to let you know you have brown balls. He goes, fine. So the guy stitches him up. He puts the gauze bandage on. He sends him on his way. Guy goes home. He starts bitching his wife. He goes, God damn it, honey. You keep this place looking like a pigsty. I slipped on the kid's skate. I cut my leg open on the edge of the table. I had to get stitches. She goes, listen, you son of a bitch. I'm the mother of 11 of your children. I'm pregnant with the 12th. I don't even have time to wipe my ass. And he goes, and that's another thing I want to talk to you about.
Oh, God. Hey, there we go.
By the way, this is Jimmy Shubert, and you're listening to What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio.
And you were listening to, because we are out of time, Jimmy. It was great having you here.
Thanks for having me in. I appreciate it.
And, come back. Absolutely. Now that we have a house comedy.
Yeah, now we have a house of comedy. It'd be a regular stop. I love these West Coast things. I hate flying back and forth across the country. You just be able to go up and down. I wish I could make my living on the West Coast. Oh, these short little flights.
Yeah, we got to get you back so you can catch your cab in a couple hours to the airport.
Yeah, that's true. I do have I got to be up at 4:30.
But do you have anything else coming up? I know you said you're working on a show.
Well, yeah, I'm working on a show. We'll take it out with my new manager. We're going to try to pitch it. But I do have a movie out coming out called Puppy Love, which was directed by a guy named Michael Maxis, who was a director out of Edmonton. He's a friend of Rick Bronson's, who got me the job in the movie. But it's Hopper Penn's in it, Sean Penn's son, and Michael Madsen, and Roseanne Arquette, and Wayne Newton, and Cowboy Cerrone.
Newton?
Yeah, and Cowboy Cerrone for the USC. It's like this really offbeat, wacky kind of, it's like best way I describe it, it's like a Forrest Gump, except in the other direction. Instead of all this amazing shit happening to Forrest Gump, all this horrible horrible things happens to this kid. It's really kind of
What's it called?
It's called Puppy Love.
Puppy Love.
Yeah, they set it up to Puppy Love, but it's such a takes you in the other direction. Puppy Love, that doesn't make sense. Then you see this horrible movie with this kid who falls in love with a hooker who smokes crack and all this horrible stuff. And so that's coming out, and that should be out soon. They just did lock sound on it and stuff. So people, if they want to see my new special, Zero Tolerance, you can go and go to jimmyshubert.com. It's available on the Vimeo platform. So if you have Vimeo, you can rent it and you can buy it for $9.99. I made it very affordable. And I should have it. My new CD will be finished soon, which we'll probably get out there. So just go to jimmyshubert.com. I have all the pertinent information, tour dates and everything else there. And thanks for having me on.
Excellent. Thank you, Jimmy Shubert. Next week, our guest is going to be singer
John Bryant.
John Bryant, who's got a show at the Biltmore coming up in a couple weeks. All right. Thanks. Talk to you next week. Good night, everybody.